Ladies.
Hi.
Look, I looks like we get ready to roll again with it. Look, I got my thing. I got so much good news, so much good news to share with you all tonight.
Ooh, I
So
like starting with that.
you know what I mean? Oh, well, look, let me start with I don't know what was going on with my feet today. I just fell up the stairs and my back is not happy about it. So it's okay. We're gonna keep sipping on this green tea.
But that's a special trick to fall up the stairs.
Up the stairs.
That's not the usual way. So
you know what I mean? And my husband would say, yes, that's that clumsy person in you. I was like, okay. The poor doggy, he was like looking at me. I'm looking at him. I'm like, it's okay. I'm okay. I'm having a whole conversation. I'm okay. All right. So it looks like we're live and empowered. We are in the house. We'll look in a minute, you all, that we're live. You got us three divas. There'll be more coming in. You know, that's what live does. But in the meantime, we're going to keep chitty-chitting and chatting. And y'all just, if you have something you want to share with us in YouTube and everywhere else, listen, and on LinkedIn, shoot us a message. But in the meantime, we got stuff to talk about. So ladies, how have your day been? How's your day been?
You want to go? You want me to go? I'm happy. Okay, me go. I was thinking, so this morning I did a Peloton ride. You know, I'm obsessed with my Peloton. And I had not been on the bike in over a week, probably 10 days. It'd been a while because my household got our first case of the kid crud, where we sent my daughter to a little summer camp. Half day, she was wearing a mask, y'all. Wearing a mask. Still came home with the snotty, snots and congestion. So we all got it. We've been living on NyQuil. And then we had house guests and it's just been chaotic. And my body was like, I don't know if I can do this ride. So I had scheduled the ride for today because it was a milestone ride. This is my 500th ride on the bike. And 500. So I'm like, okay, so I'm feeling like I want to feel strong and good, right? And I had just finished this big challenge where I retested to, they have this program called Power Zones. So you take a test and it tells you where you are right now, and then it gives you, the classes help you improve. And it's so clear. And I've never had such good metrics on working out. I know why I work out. I know how long I should work out. It makes working out so much easier and so much more enjoyable when you can see the improvement right in front of your face, on the screen. It's amazing. So I had taken this challenge. I had improved my scores by several points. So this was going to be my first ride with the new higher level of hardness on the classes. So I'm coming off of 10 days of not riding. I've been sick, but I still want to do it because it's a milestone ride. So I forced myself to get on the bike this morning. And I'm riding and I don't know how I'm doing, but at the end of the ride, the metrics tell me I got the best score I've ever gotten for a 45-minute ride, the most output. And I'm like, isn't that funny? In life, sometimes you don't know, your feeling doesn't match what's actually happening or the perceptions of other people or, just how you're really doing. And I feel like it was such a good reminder for me because I feel that way 99 times out of 100 as a wife, as a mom, as a friend. Am I doing enough? Where's the metric to show me I'm doing okay? And so today I actually got one that's yeah, you worked hard, you put in the work, and even though you took a break, you did your thing. So I just want to share that with people out there. You may not have a metric, but if you keep showing up and doing the work of being a mom, being a wife, being a friend, being live on a show, whatever it is.
Come on.
Yeah. It matters.
But you got on that bike and kicked butt. And you know what you did? You decided, because you could have easily said, you know what? I haven't been feeling well. I had house guests. I'm tired. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, and nobody would have blamed you. They would have been like, you know what? I would have taken a break. But you decided, I'm getting on this doggone bike.
Yeah.
And as somebody's song said, I'm gonna make it do what it do, right? But you made it work.
I think a lot. The reason I'm able to do that, I feel like I made the decision, and I'm like, I'm gonna get on, and I can always get off. And then I did 5 minutes. I'm like, I can always just do 10. I knew it was a 45-minute class. I can always do less intensity. Like, so I showed up and to do the thing with a way to like let myself do it a little easier if I needed to, but I didn't need to. Like, I think so many times we have this all or nothing mentality. I have to have the hardest ride of my life for these 45 minutes. And I'm like, no, man, I've been sick. So I'm just going to do the ride. That's a victory. Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to push a little. I'll push for half the class. Oh, I'm still feeling good. I'm going to keep pushing. So it's that, don't just decide to show up, but like keep deciding to show up, right? For the first minute, the 5th minute, the 45th minute. And like right at the end, the instructor said it. He's like, don't let up now. These last 30 seconds of push are the most important because you're tired. And this is where you prove to yourself you can do anything. Right? Those last
made it to the end.
Yeah.
And you made it to the end. You kick butt. You know what I'm saying? That's kicking butt.
1 minute at a time.
In my mind, I'm like, I would have been like, okay, I'm going to do 20 minutes. And once you say to yourself, I'm going to do 20 minutes, you can say, okay, I did my 20 minutes. But you pushed it.
Yeah.
Okay. You set the ball all high now. Now I can't even make my excuses and ride him into the sunset. Plus I'm jealous that you got a Peloton. And plus I'm jealous, as the kids say, I'm jelly that you are actually don't just have one, you're using it. This is the difference.
That is the difference for sure.
Girl, you kicking butt. We need some more of that. Adriana, what you got? What you got good? First of all, I'm loving this pop, this red you popping over here.
Yeah, I actually, a friend just gave me this as a gift, and I was like, because it's technically summer, but it's been really chilly. It's like in the 60s today here. So, I could wear a little bit of a sleeve for one day, and I decided, you know what? It doesn't, because this was supposed to wait until the fall. And I was so sad about it because I was so happy that, I just got this gift and whatever. So, listening to Leslie, I'm just thinking that is fantastic. It's amazing. It's an amazing story, but it is amazing to just show up, even if it's not the 45, even if it's the 20 minutes, as long as you keep showing up, you will make the progress, you will make the difference. You will, there's a concept that I've been thinking a lot about these days, because my life is in a point where there's a lot of complicated things that are happening. But because I've been working on myself so much, especially during the last year, I'm not crumbling under that pressure. It's heavy, but I am being quite able to handle it. And then, but something that happens with that is that there's something that is called the hedonic treadmill, meaning when you're feeling okay or well, you get used to that feeling. So it stops being exciting. So you start thinking that things are not that great because you're not having peaks of excitement. And that's what makes you addicted to drama. Because when things are dramatic and you're letting them be dramatic and you're letting them crumble down, then when something works, you feel that high that is not a real high, is an artificial high that comes from because you were so low. Then the difference is so big that you think it's amazing. But when you're in a better level and then something good happened, you just do a little poop. So I've been thinking a lot about that, because that is something that we are not taught how to deal with that. We are taught to celebrate when you overcome from extreme suffering to joy, but we are not taught how to live from between contentment and joy in a constant way. So this few days, I've been thinking a lot about that. That is actually what my reflection has been on. Just because you're not feeling what feels like a shot of, of a high energy, doesn't mean that you're not doing well. It may be because your normal is at a point that doesn't have those big downs. So I guess that's what's been going on. Like my things are working well. And because I spent so many years going from crisis to crisis, even though the events are exactly the same, then my brain is like, wait, shouldn't you be, crumbling or something here? Just saying.
Right.
No,
what kind of treadmill is it called again?
Yeah, that's what I'm like, what is it called?
Hedonic, like from hedonism,
Hmm.
from it means that you get used to pleasure. And when you get used to pleasure, then it becomes normal. And then you don't feel it like peaks, because we are taught that pleasure should only come in peaks. And that's not true. You can have a life that is mostly pleasure most of the time. You just have to recognize that that is happening.
Yeah.
I like that.
Love that.
I like that a lot. So so this week, so then, but so you said, so you were there, and so then your mind and your body's like, now normally in the past, you would, if you hit this valley, this peak or whatever, you would be overwhelmed with it. But this time, like, the body's confused. You've been totally confused because you're not listening to your body. You're now listening to your mind. Actually, you fed your subconscious something. So now that your conscious mind is operating differently. Look at you making a change in the action and changing your circumstances.
Yes.
You know what? You might resonate with this too, Stephanie, because you were in the military as well, right?
No, I just look like it.
No, okay. I thought you had been in the military for some reason. Police officer, right?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why I thought you were also in the military before that, but like I was working with a coach once, and I was starting to get this like twitchy feeling because I hadn't moved in a couple of years. Because the military, you move. It can be as short as a year, depending on the assignment, or it can be 3 years and then you move. But I was getting to that place where everything was easy and calm. Like, so I was like, I think I need to move. And my coach is like, you know what you're doing, right? Like you're shaking up your snow globe to create drama. Because if you move, you don't have to focus on the little things internally that you may want to tend to, because you have to figure out where's the new dry cleaner and should I get my groceries and what friends will I have in this new area and how much rent should I pay? Like you have to sort all that out so you never get to those internal things that you kind of need quiet and stillness to actually notice. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. So I kind of pay attention to when my thought is like, oh, I need to do something. I need to shake up that snow globe. And I'm like, what am I running into internally that maybe I don't want to address or see because I've had that calm, like steady pleasure, right?
Yep.
Fascinating.
And so let me ask you this. I love that analogy, shaking up the snow globe.
Yeah.
Did you, and when you was thinking about that, I was thinking about relationships.
Mm.
You know how folks, you try to figure out why when you get to a certain point in some relationship, you sabotage it. Right. And and oftentimes it's because of the first relationship that got to whatever point and you had whatever outcome. So you said, before that happens to me again, psychologically, you say, I'm going to sabotage the relationship before we can even get to that. So that can never happen. Even though that probably or may never happen, but you in your mind think it is. It's the same effect, right?
Yep. Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned relationships, because that's something that I was dealing with this weekend. So there's a certain gathering that my boyfriend loves to attend, and he can be with this group of people for hours, and he's just so like in his environment when he's there, and I cannot stand it. I cannot stand it.
Wait a minute.
I really don't like being there. I can be with this group of people and be polite, but my politeness starts like wearing down. I just do not connect. It's just like that. I do not connect. So this weekend, I forgot to tell him that I was going to meet with some friends. So on Sunday, I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you, because he likes to have everything planned. So I forgot. On Sunday, I said, oh, I forgot to tell you, I have I'm going to be with my book club or whatever. Oh, yeah, you should go. And it was because he wanted to go to his party, but he feels really bad because, he will rather I do not go, because he stresses out because he knows that I just want to get out of there. And he can be at this in this situation, in this gathering for, let's say, 6 hours. And imagine you sitting for 6 hours with a group of people that you really do not connect with. It's incredibly exhausting. So he feels bad because he wants to go, but he doesn't want to tell me don't come because it's supposed to be disrespectful to say to your partner, don't come, right? So that situation was happening, and actually I came back home. He was still at the other party when I came back from mine, and my brain started saying, you should be upset because he didn't invite you, because they don't want, because I also know that because I don't click with this group, they also prefer if I don't go. It's better if they are with their friend that has been their friend for years, and not if he doesn't bring the newcomer girlfriend that doesn't really want to be there. So my brain was telling me, you should pour some drama out of this. And then I was talking to my brain, I was saying, brain, are you seriously telling me to get in a fight so I push somebody to invite me to parties that I don't want to go to? But because my mom, I remember growing up, used to get really angry because my dad will, go party, disappear. It was a bad story. So the backstory was, if your husband or your boyfriend doesn't want you to go, it's because he's up to no good. So you should always be invited. If you cannot leave them off your sight for a second.
Okay.
And in my brain was telling me, you should be really upset that they are not inviting you, that he's not inviting you. And all I can think is, I really cannot stand going to these gatherings. Why would I push for it?
Right.
But the structure that I had in my head was kind of telling me to do that. And in the end, I was like, no way. I'm not going to beg to go to a party that I really don't want to go to.
Yeah.
And I can see it because I've been there, right? Is that in my mind, like when it's this thing that we don't like to go to, right? And especially when we always tell ourselves stories. So in our mind, we've already, if you haven't done it, folks that are watching, keep having birthdays, as my late father-in-law used to say. And that is this. I know when I get here, I'm not going to have a good time. I know when I get here, so-and-so is going to say that stupid joke that they say all the time, and it's going to get on my nerves. I know when you know what I'm saying? I know when we ran the whole, we have described exactly what's going to be said, who's going to be looking at us funny or whatever it is, right? We have already told our partner this all the way there. We're already tight, and they're trying to be good sports, right? And in their mind, it's like, the reality is, it's not that they don't want you to come, but they know that you don't like to come. And when you don't, and if I don't like to go, I don't like, and I'm not comfortable and I've already decided it's going to be a terrible time, then my vibe is going to bring down the entire party. And I'm going to ruin it for my husband, period, in the story, because he's trying to make me happy. So now he can't even have a good time. And he's afraid to leave me sitting there because he don't want me to feel like I'm like, you left me here. You know what I mean? But right. And particularly because I'm usually not the one sitting around. I'm usually up somewhere, butterflying all around, right? Fluttering all around the room. So I can see it. So I have to tell myself, when I feel a little thing coming in, this whole story that I'm telling myself, I say that, wait a minute, hold on. Okay. Well, what if, not necessarily, right? But not now does he what if, and that's the right, but what if really he's actually having a good time because I'm not there, not because I'm not there, but because I ain't there with my little funky attitude because I didn't want to be there.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I want it, right? So my name is Stephanie, and I am the one that runs the story down because I don't want to go. And so and he's like, baby, you don't have to go. No, I gotta go. No, you don't. You don't. So you did the right thing by not going because you did not want to go. And matter of fact, you could almost say, baby, I love you.
But not
that event is half. Do you need me? Put it out there. Do you listen? I really prefer not to go because that's your thing, and it's okay.
Yeah.
And then give yourself put your little I like to call them soft clothes on and relax and make that your night to relax and don't even sweat it. Boop, pop, because you know you would hate it if you were there.
Yeah.
But you know that
Yeah.
I was going to say the other thing, like that as I listen to you, Stephanie, I sometimes will drag my husband to parties. Like he's the you, right? He's like, I don't want to go. This isn't my crowd. Like it's not my thing. But in my head, I'm like, all the other husbands are there. Like this is what families do, right? So I would drag him to these parties. He'd be miserable. Just like you said, I didn't have fun because then I'm trying to manage his experience and I can feel his janky vibe, right? And so at some point I was like, just don't go. So I went by myself. And all the husbands that I thought were enjoying the party, I was able to actually watch them. They didn't want to be there either. I'm like, why don't we just make this a girls' event and let the husband stay home? And there's one or two that actually do enjoy being there and you can see it. But like now just what you said, I'm like, hey, I'm going to this thing. You're welcome to go. Or I kind of need you because I need a little help with childcare while we're there so she doesn't fall in the pool or whatever. Do you mind coming? And if he'd rather not, I've come to the point finally where I'm like, cool, then I'm going to go and have fun. You stay here and have fun. But I was trying to manage what I thought good families should do, what I thought the other people, a good husband would go. Like, what does that even mean? Like, he's who he is, and we're very different, and it's part of what makes our relationship work. And if I can stay focused on that, like how the differences help us, and not get into like, why don't you want to go to the things I want to go to? I'm in a much better place.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then of course all the husbands gonna and look, and as a matter of fact, they probably would look, when you told them, oh, I told him he didn't have to come, they probably were like, oh man, I wish somebody would have told me I didn't have to come. I mean, you know, they're jealous of him because he got to stay home.
Yeah. No, and the other thing that you need to consider is where are you coming from with the idea that you have. For example, for me, with this relationship that I'm on, one of the things that I love is that this is a person that I am very sure of. Like, this is a person I can count on. And the thing is, a few years ago, I had a sleazy boyfriend that was the guy who would want to go to the party alone so he will look single. So, you know, but that will not, starting with the fact that it will not apply with the kind of gathering that we're talking about, because there's no single people or young people or anything like that in that gathering, which is one of the reasons that I don't like it. But also, it was coming from my own old stories or old insecurities, or putting stories that belong to other person into the new person in your life. So where are you coming from? Where are you coming, like you're saying, Leslie, from? This is what it should look like. And one of the most common things actually for couples is this idea that you should enjoy doing everything together. No, actually, not at all. You should have different groups and places where you can go and actually take a break from the person so you can come home and be a lot more relaxed. And it's okay if either you don't like whatever activity or group it is, and if your partner also don't like whatever it is that you are enjoying, as long as you respect that, you know.
So I don't know if we are unicorns or what we really are, but we don't anymore. But we used to, my husband and I, for 20 years, we worked together, like we lived together, but we loved it. He loved it. I loved it. We're sickening. I mean, at one point I was like, baby, you know, if I, he was like, and then I realized one point I was like, you know, maybe I was giving, he gets worse than me. I mean, he gets reamed out. If you know, my husband looks like George Foreman. We call him George Foreman, right? He gets people like these guys, his friends, from his fraternity, to college people. They're like, I guess that's what we're going to do. The guy's like, no, I'm going with my wife. He's like, because you gotta go with Steph. He was like, yes, I do. But we also enjoy each other's company because we like the same things. But we also recognize everybody's not like that. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, it's kind of, but the folks have gotten to the point where they'll know, like, but if I'm coming and it's like, this looks like some guy stuff, and I have an opportunity to go over here and do my own thing or whatever, I'm going. Or I'm just as comfortable right up in the mix. So, gentlemen, right? Look, but because I'm like one of the guys, but at the same time, I am like, we tried like vacationing like separately one time. Major disaster. For one thing, the telephone bill was ridiculous.
Oh, that's so sweet. I love it.
I was like, oh my gosh. My husband, he tried it first. I'm gonna go. Let's baby, you go ahead to Mexico. I couldn't go. You go. He was called. I was like, oh no, St. Lucia. I was like, wait a minute. He is calling, baby. Hey, well, just calling say good night. This is the this right. Oh, well, Supreme doesn't have the link. Okay, so and there was so much of that. And we were like, by the third time I said, just forget it. Let's just forget it. Because you're not by the, like, I think it was a 7-day one. He ready to come home by the third day. Because, it's not the same fun. We have our own, we have this thing. We have a good time. And when we were the kids, we had our own system, just for the kids, and then, right? Family time, right? But we also recognize it's not the same, because some people think, oh my God, y'all gotta go everywhere together, but that wasn't true of everybody. Up until him, it has to be somebody we are on the same. Like, I mean, he can finish my sentences, like we're on the same there. He makes me laugh, and when he's not there, I'm kind of like, dang, if he was here, he would get a hoot out of this. Like, almost look at him like, oh shoot, if he was here, I could say, how you're that one, you see something, you want to
start laughing at something, and
you want to have a like, oh my God,
laughing with you.
Yeah, he's already looking at you. So it's almost like that good girlfriend. Well, that's because I married my best friend, right? So he knows. I think it's only people that know me better. One is my mom, and she's gone on to glory, and the others are my sisters. And then it's him. Mm-hmm. He knows when I see certain things, it's gonna crap me. He knows like certain things is gonna make me laugh. He knows when somebody just like he has his sister, God bless her, she will make up a word that I'll be like, wait a minute, what's that? Wait a minute. Like the other day, she was like, yes, and that pandemic is just, because that plan, and she just kept up like, did she say? She put an L in pandemic, because that pandemic, I don't play with that pandemic, because there's so many variations and I was looked at it, I was like, I like it because she really believes that's the word, and it's funny to me, but I'm not gonna laugh because she is sick. But we're gonna laugh about it later, But those are the kind of things. But Stephanie, do have some places that he goes that I just don't enjoy. Mm-hmm. So like you just said, I had to, once I figured it out, I stopped trying to make myself go, because then what happens when you go, you're not having a good time, and then they have to wrap that thing up, because after a while you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm ready to go, or they'll say, you ready to go?
For me, my back's kind of hurting, because it really, when I am uncomfortable, my back starts hurting. When I'm having fun, nothing happens. I can just be, but when I'm just sitting there waiting for the time to pass, I start with the back pain and whatever, and that's my cue. And the other thing that I noticed about this particular group, or this particular situation, was that it came from a point of vanity, because usually people like a lot. People like me. People miss me when I don't go, and this group does not miss me. And that was a really big punch to my ego. That there's a group of people that prefer that I'm not there. So I kind of wanted to push myself on them, or force myself on them. But why would I do that if they don't enjoy me and I do not enjoy them? So let it go.
Yeah, it's funny. Gosh, am I echoey? Because I sound really echoey to me.
No.
So maybe it's just my computer's super echoey, because I thought Adriana was echoey. I don't know.
She was a little echo. She was echoey.
So I was thinking about, Stephanie, if you, whose husband gets along, you guys get along so well, you do almost everything together, work together, and you still need breaks. Like, the rest of us should just accept we're going to need breaks. I grew up in a family where my parents did take separate vacations every year. So we always did the family stuff and we were together. But My mom had a girls' weekend that she did every year. My dad had a backpacking fishing trip that he did with his brother and best friend every year. And so I grew up thinking this was totally normal to take these separate vacations. And they seemed happy when they came back together. It was like they'd done something different. They were apart for a while and they had like news to share. And it was pre-cell phone. You know, they weren't calling home. My dad was backpacking out in the middle of nowhere. He couldn't really call home anyway. And so I feel like my husband and I are some kind of mix of those things. Like a little bit like you, like I find myself missing him when I'm away from him. It's like, oh, he would laugh about this. I said the best thing that we ever did was get Apple Watches, because when we go to my mom's house, at least 3 or 4 times while we're there, she will say something that our inner 12-year-olds go like, that's what he said. So I used to miss all the funny comments because they'd be coming to my cell phone and I wouldn't look at it till I left. Now I get it on my watch. I'll look down. It's like, that's what he said, or that's what she said. And I look at him. I'm like, I got you, right? I still enjoy going away with my girlfriends too. Like that's just a different vibe. And so I guess like what helped me, and this came from my facilitation background, is getting real clear on what's the purpose of a trip. Like, is it for relaxation? Is it to connect with my husband? Is it just to get away from the everyday grind? And then once I know what that thing is, it's easier to let go of everything else and what it should be and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what though, Neil, don't get me wrong, because you know, both of us, this is a problem. And not the problem, but for some people it is. My home is my haven. I can come home once I come in the house and be just as happy and don't ever go back out. And so can he. But as long as the other one's in there. But we also enjoy going out, and we do enjoy our friends separately, right? Yep. You know, sometimes like, I'm sure he gets tired, like, oh God, they just talking, you know, and he enjoys his peace of quiet. Now he likes to watch the same movies over.
That's
over. Let me guess. You better something. He loves Titanic. He loves Officer and a Gentleman.
Times, yeah, at least.
And he will watch it. First of all, Titanic's about 3 hours long.
Yeah.
He's watched it twice. I'm like back to back. He knows what the people are saying. I'm looking at him like, okay, you're too funny. And I just laugh. So it's some of the shows he watches all the time that I hear the music. Like he'll be like, hey, Steph, come on, baby, come watch TV with me. And before I even get there, I hear the sound, the music. And I was like, no way. Titanic, no way. I'm leaving. I'm leaving you. Come on, baby. No, I will not. That is a one-timer.
No, it's not.
I knew you were going to say that. Oh, my God.
No, I
can relate. Stephanie, do you have a movie that you've watched over and over again? Because I have a couple that I've seen a million times. What's your
reason? I ain't good kid. I'm not. Listen, anything Rambo. Okay.
Rocky.
I like anything with Rocky Balboa in that thing. I'm on it.
To me, it's the Rocky series. I don't like the Rambo series except for the first one, but the Rockies, I can watch them over and over. Actually, with my son, we quote the movies, the Rocky movies, to each other. Like my son will call me.
You all on that?
Like, no, Paulie.
I like Rambo. Well, Sylvester Stallone in anything right now. He's not the best actor, but doggone it, I love you. Right, but Rambo. I want to watch the series. I mean, I just told my brother-in-law the other day. I said they had just left Rocky alone. Now, of course, and I went Rocky, not Sylvester, but they just left Rocky alone. I'm mixing movies up. I said, they just left him alone. I mean, they know he was a veteran. He came home. He just came from Vietnam. He just minding his own business. Just didn't like it. He was like, you were serious about that movie.
Actually, the first Rambo movie is really, really good movie.
Oh my gosh.
Very good.
It all started messing with him coming to the town.
I feel like, check me if I'm wrong on this, but the Sylvester Stallone story was like he wanted to be a leading man and people just kept saying no. And he wrote Rocky, I believe.
Yeah, he won an Oscar for it. No, the story of the whole filming, we've watched documentaries on it many times because it's incredibly interesting. Like he was completely broke. He did a little bit of soft porn on the side to sustain himself in the 70s. And
now this little tidbit I didn't know.
The situation was, and actually the dog that he has in the movie, he sold that dog because he was completely broke, and then he got it back for the filming of the movie. And one of the things that he did for the movie, because that movie was completely filmed in a very guerrilla style.
In a what style?
Guerrilla style. So they didn't have permits. They didn't talk to the unions. They did everything underground. So, for example, all those scenes that you see him like running when he's training and stuff like that, they will go to at like 5 a.m. They will go to the location. He will jump, run behind the truck where they're filming, and then jump on the truck and get out of there before somebody saw him, because they didn't have city permits. They didn't have anything.
I love
what? Rocky?
Great story. How complicated it was to do it. How he was just paying this pretty much out of pocket. And then that's not only this big franchise, but that very first film won the Oscar.
And that's one of my favorites. I mean, really, the whole series, as you say. But because I mean, I'm still talking about The Big Russian.
Yep.
I mean, to me, it's all real, right? I mean, I love it. What about you? What about you, Leslie? What's your faves?
So I've had like phases. When I was in flight school, my roommate and I watched the movie The Rock with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery about like they get stuck out on Alcatraz.
Yeah.
So many times I couldn't cite parts of it, and it made me laugh. Nicolas Cage, I love him. I just love him. So that was one. I got super addicted to A Few Good Men, and I think I watched it almost every day while I was deployed in Kosovo. So that was a whole phase. Anything written by Sorkin. So A Few Good Men, and I love the show West Wing. His writing,
yes,
so good. So I love that. And then the other movie it just has a piece of my heart is called Remember the Titans.
Oh my gosh, that's one of mine too.
Oh my gosh, I've seen that one like 100 times. Oh God, it's so good. It just to me.
Remember the Titans. And what's the other one? Is it 600, 300, 600, 300? One of them, but I know whatever it's like, it's either 600 or 300 soldiers up against everybody.
300. Yeah, I think it was
300. Yeah. I love action.
Remember the Titans is another one that, because I heard about what the backstory was, it's a real story about like integrating the first like integrated football team.
Yes.
Right? And the reason it got written was because this guy was in that area, and he's like, he heard people talking about the Titans. He's like, where can I see this team play? And they're like, well, that was like 30 years ago. And he goes, if it was 30 years ago and you're still talking about it in this barbershop, it must have been a thing. So he wrote the script and like sent it out, and it got turned down multiple times because like those inspirational sports stories, he's like, those get made once like per year for all the studios. There's not like a bunch of them that come out. He's like, it was like a once per industry thing per year. So he kept pitching it, and the actors had to do it for like very low money up front. But if it did well, they were promised like on the other side, they would make money. And so, yeah, it was shot super low budget. People were super committed because they liked the story. And I think it enhances the movie when you know that the people believed in the process so much. They were willing to jump out of the back of a truck at 5 a.m. and run to get the scene.
Yep.
It just, you can feel it in the quality of the movie.
And Remember the Titans, another one my husband loves. Any of the football, first of all, underdog winning the game, whatever it is. Loved. What's the one with Sandra Bullock?
My God.
The Blind Side. That's another one.
Yes.
But here's the deal. I watched them. And I mean, one time. And it's some of it. I'm a one timer. Maybe more than one. But I think at this point we're in the triple digits here. So look, and then of course, if you're anything like me, we have this Verizon. So we have 1 million channels. I'm like, are we still on the same? Why are we in the world of Netflix and on demand and 1 million channels? Why are we watching the same movies? Now, I will tell you that I do love, and I had all of the shows where you they fix up houses.
Oh, yes.
The one with the couple that's in Waco.
Oh, Chip and Joanna. I love that.
Yes, I love that. I love her flair. I love the countryness.
Which one?
What is it called? It's Chip and Joanna Gaines, and she has a company called Magnolia.
Yes.
And it's all based in Waco. Oh my God. if you don't know,
But the prices are so outrageous. We're so busy fussing. I'm like, I cannot believe they
the
bought that.
magazines. Shipping
My God.
magazines. Like, my husband knows, and when he goes to the bookstore, he's like, "I got you the current issue." I'm like, "God, you get me. You really get me."
Listen, look, she's so inspired. I was looking like she's gonna take that. Like, she has quite a vision. I mean, I'm like, I can't wait to see her break out that little iPad just so she can say, "Okay, then we're gonna move that, move this." And I'm like, girl, I didn't see any of that, but I can't wait to see what it's gonna look like at the end. And just the fact that he does all the work.
Yep.
And then they come and put all that furniture in there. Now I got questions, of course. All right, so they what is it called? They dress the house.
Yep.
But the furniture, they leave?
I don't know. I feel like there's behind the scenes things you can find where it's like what gets to stay and what gets to go. I feel like the main room that they show, like they'll stage that and that furniture gets to stay, but they don't do the whole house. So the rest of the house is like furniture that they already owned, like maybe like kids' bedrooms, whatever. But I think it's all part of the budget.
It must be, because you know how like when they show like 3 weeks later or 6 months later, whatever it is, and they go back to the families and they're in the kitchen. I'm like, oh, that furniture is still there, at least in the kitchen. Right. Now, of course, sometimes like it's some other show where they're buying houses, like the folks that $1 million or hit the lottery or whatever.
Right.
And those houses, like I may hear them say, "Does this furniture come with the house?"
Right.
And then some places I'm like, yeah, I mean, listen, if you're going to get all of that, look, ask them if that furniture comes, because without the furniture is making the house.
Right.
But though I do love those shows because I'm fascinated with people having that vision, that creativity. What
blows my mind is she has that vision and she also has like 5 kids. So she's raising 5 tiny humans and has this, she's built an empire because they have a whole product line, this magazine. They have their network that they've started. And I think they have a bakery. I mean, they have everything. It's ridiculous. It's like their own
he got a whole shop. He got a whole shop. And plus, I just want to know one person that can make me one of them big tables that she made. I mean, just one. She know, like, or somebody can just call up somebody and they can make me this thing and just bring it on over. I was like, every table is unique. I mean, like, they have a table made. You got to watch it. Now you got to watch it.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna be like, now I gotta watch this show because they're talking about these.
Is it called Magnolia? What is it called?
I can't remember, but if you Google Chip and Joanna, the show.
Right, and they're right, and it's they renovate homes. They purchase, like they folks. They will take them around looking at different homes, and it's always they'll show one that's not doesn't need too much work, but you could tell they're hoping in their hearts of hearts that they choose the one that needs the most amount of work.
It's called Fixer Upper. That's what it's called. Fixer Upper.
Fixer Upper.
I found it here. Fixer Upper.
Yeah.
Oh, funny. Yeah. No, I saw them. I think I saw this couple, not this show. I have not seen it, but they were guest stars in another show that I was watching, a show that is called Younger. I don't know if you guys have. That one is hilarious. It's on Hulu right now. It's this. I searched I saw the show after I read the book. So there's this very short little book called Younger, and then they spin a TV series from it. It's this woman who's 40, and her husband cheats and gambles the money away wherever. She gets divorced. She has not worked because she was raising her child, and she tries to go search for a job. It's a comedy. And nobody's hiring her because this big hiatus of like 15 years and you're out of the game. There's no way back in the game, which is book publishing. And she goes to a bar just to get drunk with a friend, just to forget about the bad day. And this young kid, 20 something, picks her up, like tries to pick her up. And her friend is like, that means people will believe you if you say that you're 26. And she does that. She goes and she presents her resume, just scraps the dates out of everything and just let people assume that she's younger. And that's how she gets the job. That's and awesome. It's actually pretty funny. It's a really funny show. And so in the show, this couple, Chip and Joanna, I think is them, they pitch a book for the company where she's working. I think that's how I saw them, and they're talking about their empire and how they have so many things and whatever. Yeah.
Well, that's funny. Now they're acting. See, they do everything. There's nothing Chip and Joanna can't do.
Yes, and I remember the one day I'm looking and I saw something pop up, and probably there was some rumor out there that they had separated or whatever, and I was like, what is going on? And I was all broke up about it. Oh no, like because you their personalities, and if they did, they were back at it because they were. The show was back on, and it's like they were doing even more, because I didn't even know about some of the other stuff. But then now you were seeing more of Chip's. Like I didn't know he had like a whole shop, right? And then you saw even more. I mean, I was like, but Waco, every time they showed, even the houses that didn't need much.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, you could get that for whatever. And I was like, wow.
I feel like when I see them on TV, they seem to be like you and your husband sound. Like they genuinely enjoy being together and working together and having this vision, and very different pieces of the vision that they bring to life. Like she has the vision, he does the work, but it all comes together. Like I love them. And my husband and I are nothing like that. We do not have vision together. We work in very different worlds, but that works too. And it's, you know, it's funny because I read this book, what was it called? Too Bad to Stay, too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay, I think was the name of the book. And it was about relationships. And it was like a series of questions to ask yourself about, ultimately at the end, it was saying, will you be happier if you leave or stay? And so when I read it, I think I was focused on our differences, because we have, like, I was in the military. He's an artist. We're 10 years apart in age. He is a complete night owl. I'm not a morning person, but I'm up by like 8 or 9. He's up at like 2 or 3 p.m. So like it's very different. And I was
what time?
Oh, he gets up at like 2 p.m. because he goes to bed at like 6.
That's totally different. That's totally different.
Totally different world. So I was like, is it ever like we need to be on the same schedule for this to work? And when I read the book, it actually kind of debunked that for me. It was like, well, are you getting the things out of your life that make you happy? And so when I sat down and thought about it, if I go in and I'm like, hey, I need you to wake up so you watch Lena while I do a Peloton ride, he does it. He never complains. He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. He jumps out of bed, even if he's super tired. So even though our schedules are different, if I tell him I have an important thing or something that's important to me, it may not be important to you, like I have a Peloton ride or a book club meeting or, a work call, whatever, he's like, I'm there. And so it actually, like, there's people whose schedules mesh, but the partner doesn't have your back like that. So at the end of the day, I realized there was a couple, like, he does this super sweet thing at bedtime where he's like, I'm going to tuck you in. So when I'm like, oh, I'm ready for bed at 10:30 p.m., he walks in there with me. He climbs in bed. We talk for like 30 or 45 minutes. We list the 3 things that we loved about our day. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to kiss you goodnight. And then he goes and does his thing. He paints and does his art. But it's like we're having bedtime together. It's the sweetest thing. And I never asked him to do it. He voluntarily wanted to spend that time with me. And it's one of those things where I'm like, it was such a sweet gesture, something he didn't have to do. And I tried to get him to stop. I was like, I don't need this. Like, if you're not going to bed.
Why? It's so cute.
I know. And I think I was in my head, like, this is not normal. Like, who does that? He does that. That's the answer. Because he wanted to spend that time with me. And so I started like just being like, yeah, that's really cool. Like, why am I saying no to this? So these things that I thought felt very out of alignment or insurmountable, like our weird opposite schedules, actually allow us to have personal quiet time in our own, like I get it in the morning, he gets it at night. We have family time in the middle of the day, and it actually works great. And I was fighting it for the longest time. So it's, yeah.
He's a real night owl. He's the real McCoy.
Legit. Yeah. He functions best somewhere in the neighborhood of like midnight to 3.
Mm-hmm. Like, but he's a creative. He's a creative. I bet he is super creative. But you know what? Here's the deal. You can get your best work done when the world goes to sleep.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you that I'm a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
My husband is a night owl. He is actually less of a night owl now than he was like 3 years ago. But I will tell you that I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to start my day because I can think and hear myself and process. And I like that the world is still asleep. It gives me a chance because I'm literally while I'm up, I'm some like right around, I don't know, 5:30, 6 o'clock, I'll start seeing headlights. Like, and I said, the world's waking up, right? Remember, there's no airplanes, there's no bird, there's nothing. The birds might start chirping, and it's great to watch the sunrise, and then I feel like I can start my day because I started it early enough that I can meditate. I'm not rushed. It's not like throw your legs off the bed and then boom, 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 and get your day started. I'm giving myself several hours to do all the things. And if I need, sometimes it's like, okay, I can't do 5, I'm gonna do 5:30. But I need some time to process and wake up before the world wakes up. Because when the world wakes up, my mind thinks it has to do something else. It thinks it has to start working. It thinks it needs to start engaging with people. And I can't shut my mind down. But I'm telling you, it is so peaceful. And that's why creative people get up. They're probably why they're night owls, because you can get things done. Your mind is clear. No distractions.
It's when he does all his most amazing painting. Like, he doesn't really like to paint during the day when we're in the house and other noise. And I love.
That's your mic. It's your thing. It's yours, Leslie. What's that? Is your mic? Is your thing plugged?
Even when I go on mute, it happens. It's like a weird, like noise disturbance.
Who knows? It's all right.
I love, like, especially the best time when our opposite schedules worked the most was right after my daughter was born. So I would go to sleep and he would only wake me between the hours of like 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. if she needed to be fed, but then I could go right back to sleep.
Oh, God bless him.
And so it actually worked great. So I got more sleep than I think moms normally get. And he got all that time to paint because she mostly slept. But if she was up, he'd bounce her around and play with her. So he had this like quiet time with her. He had time to paint. He ended up painting during that time, like the first 6 months of her life. And I don't know how many paintings. It was like 50 something paintings, and he turned them into a tarot deck. So he has his own interpretation of the tarot with these beautiful paintings that he did in the hours of the morning while my daughter was little.
But I can only imagine the great conversations he was having with her as a baby.
Yeah.
All the secret was told, yes.
Just, oh my gosh. Why am I envisioning all kinds of craziness? Even if she was awake, he got all harpooned around, right? Around him, and just like, look, we are painting. This is green. You know what I mean? Like a whole conversation. How sweet is that? I think I might have woke up in the middle of the night with all kinds of crust in my eyes just so I could snag a picture.
Oh my gosh.
Sneak up on them and get it. Because I knew it was something cute.
What do you want to be when you grow up? She's like, I want to be an artist like Daddy. I'm like, it started early. Like, he got her young. Like, just sweet.
Aww. That's because she's been getting like feeling the vibes from birth. Hey, before that, because listen, those cards, those first paintings before you even became Mr. and Mrs. I'm still on that. I love that.
Oh yeah.
The drawings that you made, that you created.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Before you even met him.
I mean, can you imagine when I sat down to do those? I was focused on the writing. I'm like, I really feel like I want to write these notes. And then kind of on the other side, the drawing, the picture was like just a fun thing. And so I got better. I started to really appreciate people who could do art. And then, of course, an artist is the person that enters my life after I'm like, okay, I'm done with these notes. Like, seriously, this story, when I tell it, I'm like, this isn't even believable. Like, if you saw it as a movie, you'd be like, that's so fake. I'm like,
it is a movie. It's a movie. It's a complete movie.
Surely
but it also should give everyone, I think everybody was taking notes like, hold on. And I think, remember the last, everyone's like, I'm going home right now and writing writing some cards down, putting them underneath my pillow about this mate that I'm going to go ahead and claim him. But how about that? But it is everything that you're looking for is looking for you.
So much.
And if we really believe that and start moving toward it, instead of saying, well, then how different would our lives be? Man, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Mm.
So what is your, so this is now we're Tuesday. Is your weeks planned all the way out through the following Tuesday, or is there some downtime scheduled for both of you?
For the rest of the week?
Uh-huh.
Mostly just work, and then on the weekends I do most of my writing, which is one of the great things that, speaking of couple interaction, both me and my boyfriend love quiet time. So we sit together and he either reads or just, idles on the phone or whatever, but he can do that for hours. And I can just either meditate, listen to audiobooks, or write for hours. And nothing else needs to happen. And that's one of the great things that we have. It's like 4, 5, 6 hours can happen of us in the same space, but no interaction needed.
I love that.
That's fantastic.
You listen to audiobooks. Does he do you listen to out loud so that he can listen to? Oh, okay. I didn't know if he liked to, some people like just like play them so we can both listen.
We do occasionally on road trips, especially some things that are shorter or something. So if there's a road trip, maybe we'd listen to something. But usually my books are, I constantly have my earphones on. And when I'm doing things around the house, I'm always listening to a book.
And that's awesome. And Leslie, I know what project you got going on, because you always have a project and something you get with the kids. What you got going on?
Girl, I actually am we are on Project Pause because our preschool friends, we wrapped up with our graduation, and then we promptly had her in her day camp for a week, and then we visited my best friend. And then other good friends came and visited us last weekend. So this weekend, we are very happy to report we have nothing on the calendar. Literally, zero things. So we're just going to, I think, catch up on all the little projects around the house that stack up, and just the things that we've been putting off because we've been so busy with the projects. But I feel like I'm always in the mood to find go through our closets and be like, what funny costume could I make out of the things we already own?
See? I can't wait. I can't wait to see what shows up on your social media, because I'm gonna bet that, and your daughter probably loves it because you're creative too, that it's gonna be something. It's gonna be interesting. As a matter of fact, it'll be just so much fun. Just just go in the closet. You go in that closet. I go in that closet, and let's see what we can come up with. Right? Your daughter probably she might beat you because she's been watching you for a while.
Right. She's got some skills. Although I do have this thing that I love about her. She will wear clothes when people are coming over, because it's we're entertaining. But the minute they're out the door, she's like, it's time to put my PJs back on. It's her version of taking the bra off, right? She's just
I'm mad at her. I'm not mad at her at all.
Shorts are too much. I need PJs. So she literally will do PJ fashion shows. I think she this woman that I don't know her very well. We met through a mutual friend here in town, and she has a daughter a little bit older than my daughter. And she'd moved. She lives in California now, and she reached out to me on social media and said, would you be interested in some pajamas for Lena? And I'm like, sure. She's like, okay, because I literally just stocked up on 15 pairs of pajamas, and my daughter has informed me she refuses to wear anything to bed. She's going to sleep naked all summer. So they're not just sitting here, so I'll send them to you. So she sent me 15 pairs of PJs. So my kid's in hog heaven. So I'm really worried when we come out of the pandemic that she's going to think it's normal to just be in PJs, up on PJs.
Listen, so look, I keep calling. I mean, literally, let me tell you right now. Now, I know it's getting late to be normal, but typically I'm I cannot wait to get, I call it my soft clothes.
I love that.
But you got into those, my husband says, you got into those soft clothes awfully fast. I'm I couldn't wait. Because you want to be free.
Totally. I'm questioning the clothes that aren't soft clothes. I'm like, why do I have these? Do I really want to be wearing these?
And wait, the clothes are soft. I don't know, but I don't know I don't know where I got the term soft clothes. They're all soft. This is soft, but I mean, it's like my pajamas, my soft clothes.
Yeah, your soft clothes. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're at 9 o'clock. And so you have heard from Adriana and Leslie and Stephanie this evening. And what we had a myriad of conversation of things. We didn't listen, fellas. We talked about how we're going to do better there. I know you're glad to hear that we just decided that we're just not going to try to make ourselves go to the places that we don't want to go. And Leslie, we're not going to make them go anywhere they want to go. In relationships, look, partners, we're not going to push ourselves on you. We're not going to ask you to go where you don't want to go. And I've learned tonight that my husband is not the only one that likes Titanic or any of those other movies.
Now we know.
But that we all have, we have those things. But, you know, and it's okay, right? And Leslie, it is definitely okay for opposites do attract.
Yep.
And it's good.
Yeah.
Because actually, when I think about all of the things you were saying, I was like, heck yeah. Man, and particularly, oh man, somebody that likes to be up at night when you have a new baby.
Mm-hmm. My mom kept telling me, you don't even know how good you have it. And I'm like,
that's what?
Like,
I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, that and let you sleep? Because, you know, some folks be like, the baby's up. The baby's up.
Right. No, he was
great.
You
know, look, the baby's crying. You know? Oh my gosh. Well, any final words, Adriana and Leslie?
I feel like the thing that popped into my head was just like, I love all the stories. Like, I loved hearing the backstory of Rocky that you shared with us, Adriana. And I feel like so often we see the finished product and what's shiny and what's working. And we forget that there might have been a scrappy, you know, do what you can when you can on a zero budget before it was a big success. And so I just appreciate like how we can all just come together and have the conversation that unfolds. And you know, who knows? It always feels perfect. Like it's just what I needed today. So
it was.
What you guys need.
That's all I want to say too. Is just remember that the backstage is always messy. So don't worry about it.
Oh, I like that. And then we're going to end on that. That was perfect. The backstage is always messy. Mm-hmm. You all heard it first here on the Link Show. We'll see you right back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. What times are you guys on?
Eastern. I'm on Pacific. I'm way over on the other side.
And what time is it where you are when we start?
Oh, it's 5 when we start here.
5 p.m. That's not Mountain. Is that Mountain? Pacific time. See that you all just roll with it. But we thank you for being here. So we'll see you next week.